So many people noted the Montreal Canadiens had some of the top prospects in their system in the 1960s and 1970s, but they didn't have too many Americans in their program. But one player really stood out for a lot of people. They also consider him one of the most consistent hockey players of the United States program, U.S. Olympic program of the 60s and 70s. So today on the Sports Farm Montreal Canadian Vintage, we're going to talk a little bit about the legend of Larry Pleau. Now, Larry Pleau can best be described as probably one of the smoothest players to ever play the WHA. Although he was discovered by the Montreal Canadiens, his big success came when he jumped from the Habs to the WHA, but we're going to get into that very soon. Now, Lawrence Winslow Pleau, born January 29th, 1947, is also the former senior vice president and GM of the St. Louis Blues of the NHL, who just won the Stanley Cup in recent months. Now, besides being a former NHL player, he's a former head coach of the NHL. We're getting to that as well. Now, Pleau played for the Lynn English High School Bulldogs in Lynn, Massachusetts from 1963 to 64. He was scouted by the Montreal Canadiens, and he decided to move to Canada to extend his career, which is kind of the path for a lot of Americans wanting a career in junior towards the NHL. He played 3 seasons with the Montreal Junior Canadiens in the Ontario Hockey Association when Montreal was part of the format. Now, his big year for the center was his final one with the Canadiens in 67, where he got 20 goals and 52 points in 45 games. Now, because he was on the U.S. Olympic program's radar from those early years at Lynn, he basically was successfully recruited for the U.S. Olympic and World program. And he played for the United States at numerous international tournaments, including the 1968 Winter Olympics in Grenoble, as well as the 1969 Ice Hockey World Championships in Stockholm, where Team Canada was still involved and when they finished out of the medals in 4th place. Now, he decided to make his turn with the pros, with the Jersey Devils of the Eastern Hockey League in 68-69, and this was a precursor to the name of the New Jersey Devils, and he was Rookie of the Year that year with 37 goals and 44 assists in 81 games. Now, his big breakthrough was with the Habs in 1970. He started with the Voyageurs that year with 15 goals and 16 assists for 31 points. He only had 1 goal in 20 games, but Montreal saw enough of him to give him an opportunity next year, and in a season-shortened year, he had 6 points in 1971 with 5 assists. In 72, he split time between the Canadiens and the Voyageurs. He had 7 goals and 10 assists in 55 games with Montreal, but with the Voyageurs, he had better success with 7 goals and 6 assists for 13 points. Now, in his 3 seasons with Montreal from 1970 to 72, he was included on the squad's championship photo for 1971 and does have a Stanley Cup ring, but did not play enough games to have his name engraved on the Stanley Cup. Now, when he was selected off waivers by the Leafs in the summer of 72, he decided he didn't want to play with Toronto. He then chose to sign a contract with his hometown New England Whalers of the upstart WHA. Now, Pleau had some great results with the Whalers and appeared in 3 consecutive All-Star games for New England from 73 to 75. He also played for the United States at the inaugural 1976 Canada Cup, and U.S. team that year was very underrated with some good young players, which actually inspired a lot of success of the 1980 U.S. Olympic team that bet the Russians. Now, he did not appear in the tournament, but his presence motivated these co-teammates or co-U.S. skaters that, the United States program had arrived. This is well before Bobby Carpenter and Brian Lawton and Pat LaFontaine. Now, he played 7 seasons for the Whalers before retiring in 1979, which of course was the last year of the WHA. And for some strange reason, too, he played with Springfield AHL in his last campaign, getting 1 goal and 3 assists in 5 games. His best statistical season, of course, was that All-Star year in '73, where on a very, very strong New England team, he had 87 points, including 39 goals. But later on with the Whalers, he skated with the great Gordie Howe and the Howe brothers. And, it was nice to see the skill that the Pleau had brought to the Howe family, because Pleau was very good on defense, very good on offense, and he put up some really good statistical numbers, especially in 1973 when he had nearly a goal a game pace in the playoffs. Final WHA totals: 372 points in 468 games, including 157 goals. Now, when Pleau retired, he decided to give back again to Hartford, and he was named head coach of the Whalers from 1980 to 83. He then coached the Binghamton Whalers, very good AHL franchise affiliate, between 84 and 88, and then was rehired by Hartford in 87 and coached them until 89. And this was the era of the big rivalry between Boston, Montreal, Quebec, and Hartford, where they were training off series. Some great games were played. Now, after leaving Hartford, he joined the Rangers as an assistant GM of player development, and was later promoted to assistant GM and director of player personnel. He stayed with the Rangers for 8 years and got a Stanley Cup ring in 93-94 in the Messier year. Now, he moved to the Blues in 1997 as GM, and ironically, the Blues got compensation in the rugged Mike Peluso for the Rangers giving up Pleau. Now, while Pleau presided over the Blues, winning the President Trophy in 2000, the Blues, for some reason, steadily declined over the next few seasons. This is after the Brett Hull years, culminating and finishing dead last in the league in 2006, where they missed the playoffs for the first time in 25 years, and only for the 4th time in franchise history. Now, following the season, the Blues were sold to Dave Checketts. Pleau did keep his job as GM, but had to give up his powers over hockey operations to John Davidson. Now, Pleau continued with the U.S. program. He was the assistant GM of the silver medal winning American hockey team at the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics, and was a GM for Team USA during the 2003 and 2004 IIHF World Championships and the 2004 World Cup of Hockey, which of course is the Canada Cup. Now, Pleau did step down as GM of the Blues on July 1st, 2010, with Doug Armstrong taking his place. He was then named Senior Advisor to Hockey Operations and Vice President with the Blues after 13 years as the club's GM, the longest tenure in franchise history. And St. Louis won the Cup in 2019. A lot has to be owed to Pleau, because he was a motivator, he was strong with many players and many executives. But his awards and achievements are quite impressive, ladies and gentlemen. He was the EHL Rookie of the Year, like I said, in '69. He won the Stanley Cup in Montreal in '71. He played in those 3 All-Star games, 73-75. He was named the Louis A.R. Peary Memorial Award winner for Coach of the Year in the AHL for Binghamton in '87. He won the '94 Stanley Cup with the Rangers as assistant GM. And of course, his biggest recognition, well-deserved induction in the United States Hockey Hall of Fame in 2000. Now, his coaching record with Hartford over 5 seasons, 224 wins, 224 games, 81 wins, 117 losses, and 26 ties. Now, he got them to the playoffs twice, including the 88 and 89 years where Montreal, Boston, and Quebec were still heavily in the mix. Now, not too often that I give a little bit of history about this. What was kind of bizarre, Emile Francis, who was totally out of hockey, he took his place as GM at the Hartford Whalers, which I still don't understand. I think what happened with Pleau was being let down by scouting by Hartford for a couple of years, because it was sort of a Gordie Howe motivated franchise. And notice he only took over head coach of the Whalers after the Howe years end. but after a while, I think the scouting let them down. Hartford was only 3 or 4 players away for being heavily competitive against Montreal. You look in '86, you came within 1 goal of getting to the next round when Montreal lost and about won in overtime on Claude Lemieux's goal. They could easily won that cup that year with maybe not as much reliance on Mike Louis or like a stronger, younger defense or goaltending. But Larry Pleau, I mean, not too many Americans were on the Stanley Cup. Well, not say on the Stanley Cup directly, but won the cup back in the day. It was a different time back then. You know, the Swedes only arrived in North America in the 70s. Russians shortly after. You know, Helmut Balderas, and you know the Big Five in Russia. But Larry Pleau is like any other great motivator that's been from the States program. It took a spark, ladies and gentlemen, and that spark, of course, was in Lynn, Massachusetts. That part of Massachusetts has a good youth program in all those communities, and now those players are so strong. NCAA Tier 2, they come into various junior programs across Canada, pre-college elite. You know, it's a pleasure to do this podcast because I have family in the Massachusetts area. My only regret, I never had a chance to cover high school hockey in the Massachusetts area because I've covered in New Brunswick, and that's an indication of the talent here that probably is still there in Massachusetts. It would be my pleasure to do write-ups. So that's the legend of Larry Pleau. Thanks for listening, and put it this way, a lot of these Montreal Canadiens players I never heard of before, I can easily tell you there was around 75 prospects that Montreal had, at least 75, between, the 65 Stanley Cup year and the 73 Stanley Cup year, and at least 20% or 30% were successful players with other teams. Not even getting to Glenn Goldup and Randy Rhoda and Dave Gardner and all these players, Chuck Aransson, Arneson, or however you pronounce it. Anyway, hope this finds you well. Have a good day. Bye.